So I want to talk about expanded self-realization, or what in my view is self-realization as I see it. Okay? So a lot of times the common idea of what self-realization is, that term is something that comes primarily from Eastern philosophy, primarily Indian philosophy, and it usually is something to do with knowing yourself beyond the ego, knowing yourself as just pure consciousness itself. Beyond ego mind, it's like a transcendental awakening to your true self as being pure awareness, pure consciousness, pure beingness. Okay, now I don't exactly agree with that view anymore as being what self-realization is, because I feel like it is not as resourceful of a spirituality as I think people can adopt. It puts a lot of people just kind of focusing a lot on sort of transcending, and the idea of transcending, letting go, realizing the illusion of your free will, of that you're even a person or an individual, and you just surrender and awaken and just sort of like allow your life to unfold. And I see it as something different now. Okay, I see self-realization now. I've never heard anybody put it this way, but this is how I see it. I see it as that it is, yes, spending time in meditation and spending time in like a self-inquiry, into inquiring through meditation and prayer who we are as spiritual beings, being able to bring awareness to ourselves as the observer, just the neutral observer, to our mind, our ego identity. But it doesn't end there for me. Now, what I would add to that is that it's the whole connection between the infinite intelligence, infinite presence, how we are an extension of that, a manifestation of that, and how we are individual ego personalities. And I did say individual, unique ego personalities. I don't see it so much as that we want to just sort of like rise above and almost like eradicate our individuality. Now I see it as embracing the ego personality, and we are all unique individuals. It's kind of like, not to get too esoteric, but it's kind of like we're all one and individual, kind of like at the same time. So essentially what that means is that we're one in essence, we're one qualitatively one, but we all have an individuality as well that we want to embrace. And we know ourselves as, beyond the mind, as the observer, but we also are connected to the infinite presence, and we're interacting with it, and we're using the power of belief within it. So that's why, the reason why it's self-realization is you're realizing yourself through the connection of the infinite intelligence, and understanding who you are as a being that is a spiritual being ultimately, not just this body-mind, but also how your connection to the infinite presence, how you interact with it through belief, through faith, and how that supports you, and understanding yourself and the way your mind works, understanding the importance of belief, and the importance of thought, and the importance of how you visualize something, and the importance of the subconscious mind, and when you contemplate something, how it eventually starts to sink into the subconscious mind and become a habit pattern. See, that's what I see as self-realization. You've realized the whole kind of multi-dimensional self, that it's connected to the infinite, that it has a mind, that there's belief, that you interact with the infinite through your belief, that this sort of quantum field starts to work with you in terms of like your dominant thoughts, Okay, so that to me is self-realization. You've realized just that whole system. You've realized like those handful of principles that I've mentioned. Okay, so it's not just knowing yourself in this transcendental, realization, because I don't think that's as resourceful, and I ultimately think that can actually be sort of damaging, sort of like, anti-life, in the sense that we're not embracing life and understanding the principles that help us have a more sort of resourceful life, a more successful life, a more expansive life, a life that goes into growth and expansion and going out of our comfort zones and setting intentions for things that we want and seeing those things come to pass. Because it's very satisfying for humans to set intentions and see those things come to pass. I don't think it's just about transcending and, awakening to that peace, and then a certain desirelessness takes place when you transcend, as is said in the traditional Eastern philosophies. So, okay, so those are my thoughts on what I think self-realization is. And I think that's a much more exciting insight into it, because it now is sort of giving us opportunities to actually design a more, I want to say successful life, but that's not the right word. But a life where you're seeing a lot of the things that you are excited about, you're seeing those things manifest more in your life, particularly health and career and love and financial opportunities and goals that are important to you, things like that. And you're seeing more of these things manifest, so it's a more resourceful type of spirituality, and I think way to look at self-realization. Okay, so thanks.